The McDonald's ice cream issue is a modern-day American epidemic, and the small two-person startup Kytch was trying to solve it. They had built this small Raspberry Pi device that would help McDonald's franchise owners to understand what was wrong with their ice cream machines. But today, they're suing both McDonald's and Taylor, the ice cream machine maker, for $900 million. Today, I want to discuss the story from Kytch's perspective, the startup, not McDonald's or Taylor. I really did want to interview the founders for the story, but because we're going through a legal battle, I just didn't want this video to become a part where they slip up by mistake and weaken their case. I don't know how this works, but I didn't want this platform to become that. So we're just gonna check out the story from their perspective based on the articles that have been written about this lawsuit so far. So if you don't know about the whole McDonald's ice cream issue, I'll just give a quick Sparknotes version. So McDonald's has a bunch of these ice cream items on their menu. And if you are starting a McDonald's store, you need to buy your ice cream machine specifically from two companies. Either Taylor, an American ice cream machine company, or an Italian machine, and most people opt for Taylor. And the Taylor ice cream machines are actually really poorly designed. They don't really give clear instructions on what the McDonald's employees need to do, and it often goes out of order because of that. And whenever the machine breaks down, no one can really diagnose what's going on because it throws a bunch of cryptic errors on purpose. So then the franchise owner has to call someone from Taylor, the company, who comes down and will repair the machine. And Johnny Harris also did a really good video about this whole issue. And in one part of the video, he breaks down the cost of franchise owners to call Taylor repairmen to repair the ice cream machine, which is kind of absurd if you look at it. And Johnny Harris also discovered that 25% of Taylor's revenue comes from these recurring parts and services business, which includes repairing the ice cream machines from their franchises. And franchise owners are actually frustrated about this machine too, and they are the ones that benefit the least from having Taylor machines. And in this Wall Street Journal article, this franchise owner, Jim Lewis, complains that the ice cream machine was so engineered it was silly. Sometimes simple is just better. Okay, great. Now that we're done with the conglomerates, let's dive into Kytch, how it came to be, and why it's suing McDonald's right now. I'm gonna be referring to the Wired.com articles. Thanks, Wired.com, don't sue me. So the founders of Kytch did not start with trying to solve the ice cream problem like McDonald's. They actually had their own product called the Throwbot. And the Throwbot was basically an automatic froyo dispenser. And they were basically engineering the Throwbot machines so that they could just place it anywhere and people could just buy froyo without having to go to a specific store, but they could just use their vending machines. And Throwbot was actually powered by Taylor ice cream machines. If you open a Throwbot machine, the Taylor ice cream machine would be the one serving you inside. So the whole concept behind the Throwbot was that it was going to be an automatic froyo dispenser. So to make it work in an automatic way where someone could just go in, press a few buttons and get froyo, they had to actually hack the Taylor machine to be able to make it work without them needing a human there to assist the machine. And Taylor, the company, knew that Throwbot was hacking the Taylor machines, but they didn't care at that point in time. So Throwbot, the company, started putting a bunch of these vending machines in several locations. Some of them were at Tesla factories, some of them were at the San Francisco 49ers stadium. But what they realized is that their machines kept failing and they would often need to drive down to the location to be able to investigate what happened. And basically the machines would just lose control and it would just spray dairy all across the place and it would just leave the machine's vicinity in like a sticky, gooey, viscous state. And in the article from Wired.com, the founders say that the problem was the Taylor machine at the Throwbot's core. And that's when they realized that they needed to fix the Taylor machine or just pivot the whole business. And basically Throwbot was not going anywhere as a business because the core of the company was founded on Taylor's machinery running the backend. And they decided to pivot and they decided to focus on fixing the Taylor machine instead. So then they pivoted and they started to build Kytch, this Raspberry Pi device that basically gives you more information about why your machine is failing. And they started pitching their product to a bunch of franchise owners, and a bunch of people started buying the product and installing it in their McDonald's machine, and they were selling it on a subscription basis at that point in time. And this is what franchise owners thought about Kytch at the time. Without Kytch, restaurants' hired staff don't even notify owners 9 out of 10 times when the ice cream machine was down. Now, at the very least, we get an email alert with a diagnosis of a problem. This is a luxury. Kytch is a very good device. And basically, on Kytch's website, you can also see how the email alert looks like, and it's just telling you why it's failing and maybe what you can do to fix it. And from my understanding of the issue and from Johnny Harris's video, it also seems that the machine was often failing because McDonald's employees were just putting too much dairy or too little dairy, or like just doing something that wasn't consistent with how Taylor intended the machine to be used for it to function without it needing repair.
PS, as a C602 ice cream machine insider, the reason why it failed probably is because the hopper's a little bit too full of the ice cream mix, and it takes a while for it to heat up and cool down that mass of matter. So just fill it a little bit less next time. That's one of many reasons why it might fail. Anyway,
Johnny Harris actually read the manual of the Taylor ice cream machine to make this video. I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but I'm so glad someone is more responsible than me. So when I was doing research about Kytch, the startup, and all of his stuff, I was really wondering, did Kytch really have the right to actually sell this to franchise owners? I mean, if you're a franchise owner, you are functioning under McDonald's. You're basically owning part of McDonald's IP, and McDonald's is also forcing you to buy specific types of machines and hire people in a specific way and follow specific procedures for you to run a McDonald's franchise at your current location. So why would this startup feel comfortable enough to build this device around this ecosystem and just infiltrate how McDonald's works? So when I looked into it, it turns out that franchise owners, they're not buying this equipment directly from McDonald's. They are asked to buy this specific equipment to run a McDonald's. So franchise owners really are owning the equipment that they're purchasing to run a franchise for McDonald's. And mind you, a Taylor machine costs $18,000, and it comes with a warranty, and it comes with a few conditions on how to operate it. And if you choose to repair it by yourself, or if you choose to repair it with an external repairman that is not from Taylor, you basically break that warranty. Long story short, Kytch was basically operating under a machine that someone buys. So Kytch kind of functioned under the same pretense as if I was to buy a vehicle and I just installed a personal analytics tracker on my vehicle. So long story short, they did have a right to build this machine and sell it to franchise owners. McDonald's and Taylor couldn't do really much about it in the initial stage of them finding out that franchise owners were buying Kytch machines and installing them in their Taylor ice cream machines. But they slowly started figuring out how to stop Kytch from selling the machines by starting to issue statements to franchise owners. The first statement came from Taylor, and Taylor said that if franchise owners were to install Kytch machines in the ice cream machines, that would void the warranty on the ice cream machines. So you can have a small device in your machine that helps you save thousands of dollars per year at a small price of $10 per month, at the risk of, if your machine was to break, you'll just have to buy an entirely new one for $18,000 again. Taylor also issued a cease and desist letter to Kytch, telling them that they cannot use Taylor's branding in their displays at food industry trade shows. That was the email that sort of broke the relationship between Taylor and Kytch. So one other thing to note is that Kytch and McDonald's have a really good relationship over the years. They have basically been in business for multitudes of years, and they both have things to gain from one another. When Taylor got upset about the whole Kytch thing, McDonald's also had to do something about it. So then McDonald's issued an email to all its franchise owners. The email says the following: Kytch creates a potential very serious safety risk for the crew or technician attempting to clean or repair the machine, and it could cause serious human injury. McDonald's strongly recommends that you remove the Kytch device from all machines and discontinue use. The very next day, McDonald's sent another note to franchisees announcing a new machine called Taylor Shake Sundae Connectivity that would essentially duplicate many of Kytch's features. And from the lawsuit that Kytch is suing Taylor and McDonald's for, part of it includes that Taylor got hold of a Kytch machine and tried to reverse engineer what they were building to create this Taylor Shake Sundae whatever. So even though franchise owners could have known better, and even though McDonald's was just yapping away at just saying things to franchise owners to scare them off, McDonald's is still the boss of this whole operations, of this whole franchise business. So scaring franchise owners off with just statements like that is very effective to just kill a business that relies on you being okay with this business existing. The email that was sent to our franchise owners was deemed defamatory from Kytch, and it actually did immense damage to the Kytch business. So it seems like there's only three ways that Kytch could have exited or function as a company. The first possibility is that they just never exit. They just function like a normal company and they keep growing and they make a profit and they keep operating like on that small amount and they just keep taking subscription money. It's like it was a pretty good deal. By the fall of 2020, they had already sold 500 of their devices and they were just bound to keep growing. And the other possibility of exit was to get acquired by either McDonald's or Taylor, the company, or whoever owns Taylor. I think it's Middleby. And there was a moment where Middleby actually considered acquiring Kytch. In this email, in this recent article from Wired.com, they found that the CEO of Middleby, David Brewer, had wondered whether Middleby could just acquire Kytch to solve this problem and have this whole operation be in-house. Or maybe even kill the company. And it turns out from this email exchange, another executive stated that Taylor and McDonald's actually were reaching out to franchise owners instead to prevent them from using Kytch machines by just issuing these statements about warranty and it being unsafe for service people to work on the Taylor ice cream machines. And the third possibility, which is what happened, is that they get screwed over. Screwed by Taylor, they get screwed by McDonald's, and they get out squeezed from this market and out squeezed from all these franchises. They actually built something that was benefiting the franchise owners and that was actually built on top of fossil technology to be able to benefit people with real-time update, but they got pushed out because it was not benefiting the people at the top. Taylor and McDonald's. So I also had a question of whether Kytch had any chance of making money out of his lawsuit, considering they're a small two-person startup and McDonald's is this giant conglomerate at this point. Turns out they have pretty good premise in terms of a defamation lawsuit just because the statements issued against them were not only false, but it was also defamatory because it actually caused literal damage by destroying their whole company. So I also wanted to check out defamation cases that McDonald's had gone through, and I found one, which is the McLabel UK case, where a bunch of these activists or just campaigners were just spreading these leaflets that said, "What's wrong with McDonald's?" ? And McDonald's won that lawsuit, but obviously this is not really a fair comparison in terms of the case type. All right, at the end of the day, who's getting impacted by this? Obviously, the franchise owners have to default to whatever Taylor and McDonald's feed them. So they are definitely the people at the end of the line that gets impacted by this whole issue by not having any products similar to Kytch to help them run these ice cream machines that suck. But also Kytch kinda is a loser in this whole scene because they got kicked out of business and the sales dried up. People started removing the devices from machines. I mean, it sucks overall for Kytch. So it definitely throws the conversation of rights to repair into the conversation as well. And I won't cover rights to repair here. I'm not Vox. But a congressman did actually bring in Mr. iFixit to what is this? Congress, to like a meeting to discuss why this is happening. Kyle Wyans from iFixit actually brings in Kytch, and let's see what he has to say.
In an ideal world, you'd have an entrepreneur who would come along and make a tool to make it easier for McDonald's. Maybe they'd have an app on their phone that they could use to configure and help them diagnose and repair the machine. Unfortunately, the company who made that tool is struggling legally because of all of these challenges. Across the board, if we had innovation outside of the manufacturers and to be able to develop new tools for fixing ice cream machines or anything else, you'd have a whole flowering ecosystem of repair tools. Right now, it doesn't exist. The US is like this black hole where innovation is banned in software repair.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So is Kytch still in business? I was wondering that, so I looked up one of the co-founders on LinkedIn. I couldn't find both of them, so I looked up Jeremy O'Sullivan, and he marked November 2023 as his last month at Kytch. And you can already see that he's basically written a bunch of stuff on his LinkedIn portfolio style to move on to the next step and maybe apply to other jobs. So that really kind of sucks. The website is still up. I mean, I've been throwing it on the screen the whole time, but yeah, that's the case. The reason why I wanted to discuss Kytch was because Kytch had this giant operational risk. It didn't appear as a risk at first, but slowly as time went on, Kytch was nearing closer to people just not liking them being around McDonald's franchises, from Taylor and from McDonald's itself. They kind of entered a space where there were a lot of questions of, can we actually do this? And they went and did it. But unfortunately, the consequences that we're facing right now is just horrid. They also had a really admirable pivot from going from Throwbot to Kytch, from making throw-your machines to actually repairing the machines and making analytic devices for these machines. To me, that pivot is incredible. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, if any, and I'll see you later. Bye.